and welcome to the RetroBlasting Lockdown Livestream number 7, lucky number 7, where we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters. And eventually Michael's going to walk over here, but he's not walking over here yet. I wonder what he's doing over there. It's kind of awkward for me.
I was just making sure that everything was set
Oh, hark! I hear a voice. A fell voice on the wind. Saruman. No, wait. I think it's Michael. Or maybe it's Vigo.
Vigo is a painting.
Vigo is also the guy that plays Aragorn. Look how it's all interconnected.
Hi, everybody. Welcome
Hi, early nerds. You guys are my favorite people that are going to be here in the live stream. Just don't tell the others.
Did you just say early nerds?
Yeah, I say that as a term of
Early
affection.
nerds get the what?
Get the best seat for the live stream. You guys have the front row seats. They're very coveted. You guys, are deserving of them because you got here early and waited. Don't tell the others that you're in a special group.
Wow. Alrighty, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Lockdown live stream. Hope you guys are doing well. We have been busy with a lot of videos lately, as you've probably seen. I'm in the middle of developing a number of others, but we never want to miss the live stream. And last time you guys expressed interest in us doing Ghostbusters. So I thought I'd break everything out and we would discuss Ghostbusters. It's funny to me how much love this property has, not because it isn't good. It's a great movie. And it had a lot going on in the 80s, but it hasn't really been able to get off the ground much since the 80s. And yet the passion for it is still there, more so than even something like Masters of the Universe, which can't even successfully get back into retail stores. Ghostbusters has no problem.
Jody says volume is on the low end. Is that just me? Because maybe it's just I need to talk right into the microphone.
Yeah. Which microphone is having a problem?
Just yell it out. So keep talking, Michael.
Okay, so yeah, just tell us if it's Melinda, not me. I have a hard time believing you couldn't hear me. But anyway, yeah. So Ghostbusters really hasn't done much since the 80s, and yet the passion for it is so high, and it's never really dissipated. It's been constant.
They're saying it's mine.
Well,
how about if I do this? Right in my face. I can hide behind the microphone.
Well, make sure that it's not totally blocking you.
No, I want it to totally block me because you can either see me or hear me, not both at the same time.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, here's the deal. I've always maintained personally that Ghostbusters was fun in the 80s, but what?
Scott says, good morning. I earned some money as a parapsychology test subject and wanted to donate the full amount to RetroBlasting. Here's $5. Thank you. That's very generous of you. Hopefully...
You can keep the $5. I've had it. I will, mister.
Hey, guys. Favorite quote from the movies from Matt Movies.
Oh, man. Everything in the first 45 minutes of the first Ghostbusters is gold.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
It is. Every single line in the first 45 minutes of Ghostbusters is just one joke after the other. I'm trying to think, and there's some really good ones in Ghostbusters 2 as well. You put me on the spot.
I just watched the second one, and I watched the second one while I was doing my hair, which, by the way, guys, I flat ironed my hair for you, and I don't think I've ever done that, so you're welcome. But that's the kind of personal service you can expect here at RetroBlasting. But thank you, Connor. That's a very kind super chat with no text. So basically, yeah, I watched it. It's funny because it's on YouTube, and it has all these weird just clips of the movie kind of in order. They kind of overlap. It's terrible. But I wasn't really watching. I was just kind of listening to refresh my memory. I haven't seen that movie since. When did that movie come out?
84.
The second one?
No, the second one came out in 89.
Because it almost feels 90s, and I think part of it's the music. But Gen X Jody says, "Can you stand up and do a 360 to show off the outfit, please?"
You know, there's a lot of random comments we get sometimes in the chat that says "turn around" and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
well, this is from Jody. He just wants to see your outfit.
Okay.
Well, I
Well,
mean, you did put it on and go
some
to
of
all
the
that
stuff
trouble.
though is not on. Like the urine hose is not
It's
on.
very hard to move around in
The
this thing.
gloves are not on the belt. But okay, sure.
You know, when I was still working with doctors and stuff, one time a doctor said that to me. He was like, "Ooh, I love your outfit. Can you turn around and let me see the whole thing?" And so it's kind of like that, but now it's directed at Michael, which is more funny, I think. Nice. Shake it. So Scuba Pete says, "My wife Leslie says you are amazing, Melinda. I have to agree." Well, we aim to please, and that's the important thing. Is I do my best, and sometimes people don't like it, and that's okay too. So yeah. So the thing is that Michael has worn this outfit several times at different conventions and parties and things like that, and it is surprisingly high maintenance. Like
Yeah.
it seems like it would be really comfortable, right? Like because it's a jumpsuit and it's loose fitting and it's all one piece, so you don't have like but you have all the stuff hanging off
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to sit down. It's hard to like go through a crowded area like at Dragon Con.
Yeah,
And
it's a real.
and once you put that thing on, I mean, it's just.
And I do the Venkman costume, which is the most low maintenance. The other costumes have goggles and traps and tucked in boots and tucked in jumpsuits in the boots and all that stuff. I keep it minimal with Venkman. The other thing you have to remember about or understand is that I built my costume way back in like 2009, 2010.
Can you please move the radio a bit to your left? It's kind of blending in with the laptop. Woo! Everyone wants to know why you called that a urine hose.
Because Dan Aykroyd made a statement in one of his interviews where the idea behind this was that it was much like for a not an astronaut, but it is an evacuation hose in case you lose your metal, so to speak, during a ghost thing. Now, obviously, by Ghostbusters 2, they had downplayed that and even changed the color of this hose to a white, clear hose. But in the first movie, it was supposed to be an unspoken joke, I believe, that it was a yellow-tinged hose for the purposes of allowing a Ghostbuster to pee himself unabated during an assignment.
Which, ladies, can I get an amen for that? Like, that would be great, especially for us. So, like, there are 3 comments here that I really want to get to. 2 are super chats, and I'm going to get to those. But I want to call out one at the beginning, which says, I was hoping for He-Man, which I get that joke because I just rewatched the second movie.
Right.
And all the little kids at the birthday party at the beginning of the movie when Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, thank you. Sorry, just had a senior moment. They show up at the party and they're like, "Oh, we want He-Man," and I'm like, "It's 1989."
Well, no, but He-Man came back in the late 80s as the New Adventures of He-Man, and he was in space.
Ew.
Well, that's the truth. And so He-Man was back for that
kinds
year.
of things I learn here every day. Okay, Vinkman says, "My lifelong passion for collecting toys began with Kenner Real Ghostbusters."
Yeah, to explain one thing to you guys about the Kenner Ghostbusters here, the 4 Ghostbusters right here on in front of me, these are my 4 childhood Ghostbusters, and their proton packs are intact, and you can see them in the video feature that we did several years back on the Real Ghostbusters. The reason that they are not on the figures right now is because if you've watched a number of our live streams, you will know that occasionally one of us might bump the table and knock things over, and those...
And by one of us, he means me.
No, sometimes it's me. And those
Probably
packs,
me.
those packs have intact proton streams that are very fragile, so I did not want them on the table for this live stream.
Monkey Boy says, "Woohoo, this is the best part of Saturday. Thanks." You're very welcome. Midnight's Edge says, "I never knew that." About which?
I assume about this.
Oh, okay. Alex says, what made the first movie so special to you the first time you saw it, and why do you think the franchise remains so popular 30 years later?
For me, it had to do with the fact that my dad didn't take me to a lot of movies. It was usually my mom. But my dad took me to see Ghostbusters, and I'm not sure if that's because he liked Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. I'm guessing. I don't even have confirmation on that, but maybe he saw Stripes and thought it was funny. I don't know. But he took us to see Ghostbusters without my mom there. That was a rare thing for Dad to even. It was rare for Dad to be with us seeing a movie. It was even rarer for Dad to be the only parent there. And we went to see it on a rainy, late morning, early afternoon in Nashville in '84. And the movie was very unique. It was really funny. And even for a 6-year-old, it was really exciting. And so that's why the movie was always special to me. That's why I ended up loving the film.
I don't remember seeing it.
I also really remember the music. It was one of the first times I was very aware of a movie soundtrack because I liked the Ray Parker Jr. song. I thought it was cool, and that was Ghostbusters was the very first soundtrack I ever owned, very first cassette that wasn't a read-along cassette that I ever owned. Yep.
First grown-up cassette.
Yeah, and
sort of.
and the people at Hills accidentally didn't take the big security thing off of it, and so there I am trying to rip the thing open on the way back to the car walking in the parking lot at night, and I accidentally got my little fingers underneath one of the seams in the cassette case itself and cracked the whole cassette case open trying to get that cassette out.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's always real frustrating.
Wah, wah.
So lots of people keep talking about the He-Man in space thing you talked about. One person said that it didn't come out till 90, which would
if it didn't come out till 90, then I don't know what the answer is, because
the only other answer would be that there would be like studio executives who were really out of touch with what kids are into, and they're like, there's something called He-Man, we'll just slap that in there.
Right, because otherwise it would have been gone. I don't know how to answer the dating thing. I mean, about the date. So, the closest He-Man to Ghostbusters 2 was the one that allegedly began in 90. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's possible. Is it possible the toys hit shelves before the cartoon landed? Maybe the toys were out the year before? Just saying.
What's your opinion, studio audience? Okay. All right, how bummed are you that one of the lights on the cyclotron isn't working?
They're all working. It's probably the angle at which you're looking at the...
Yeah, it is working.
They're all working.
It's weird because you have to be at the right angle, especially because there's so much light in here, you can't see it, but...
This one right here is working.
It is working, yeah.
It's just...
It does look like that, though.
It's possible that...
the He-Man movie was in 87, Keith says, so... Yeah, that's a big selling point, right? Like, we all loved that movie when it came out. Mm-hmm. Let's just do a whole live stream about that.
I don't think kids in 89 were thinking about the 87 live-action He-Man movie. It was
People in 87 weren't thinking about it either. Lio Convoy's review says, I think the likely answer is that it was in the early scripting phase when He-Man was still popular and it was just still a holdover. That's quite possible. But it just jumped out at me because I was like, this almost feels like a 90s movie because I wasn't sure what year it came out. And I was like, if this was like 91 or 92, that would be really... But then I didn't know about He-Man in space, which is... Technically, all He-Man is in space, right? Because Eternia is another planet.
Yeah. I would like to point out that before this live stream began yesterday, I told Melinda, I said, because it's Ghostbusters, there will be people nitpicking the props in the live chat. And she said, no, they won't. I said, yes, they will.
I didn't say no, they won't.
And sure enough, somebody's like, what's wrong with your cyclotron?
That's not really what they said.
You know what I'm saying. They can't help themselves.
I think that they were just saying that must bum you out.
No, it doesn't bum me out because it's working.
Well, they didn't know that. Can you tell us about your life-size proton pack? Says Scuba Pete.
Yeah, I did a video about that back during the beginning of the channel. It was actually was actually pulled together from parts. Now I understand you can actually buy just replicas of the proton pack, but back in '09, we were all on our own and everybody was doing parts
Man,
runs.
'09 was a banner year for you, Michael.
I know.
I mean, you met me.
I bought a DeLorean.
You bought a DeLorean. You got a proton pack. You met me. I mean, it's really like your best year ever, right?
Yeah, I was 31 and just...
Man,
I know.
everything was working.
Everything was working.
Yeah. No, I didn't mean it that way.
But anyway, I was on the Ghostbusters GB fans forum trying to get parts. And around that time, Melinda and I found ourselves with a DeLorean that had been rear-ended. And I realized I'm not going to have time before Dragon Con to build the proton pack and fix the DeLorean. So I have to pick one or the other. So I chose to devote my time to the DeLorean because nobody else was going to work on that. And I met a really great guy out of Texas named Todd Swan, who had built several proton packs, and he's a really great guy. And I said, can you build my proton pack for me? And I said, I'll definitely, pay you for your time. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And he was real communicative, and he took the parts that I had sourced and he put this together. And you have to remember, this was back... What's going on?
Mark says, whiny tone. Why isn't the urine hose real urine? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mark's not wrong.
That's hilarious. Didn't mean to interrupt you, sorry.
But yeah, so back then, there were still not sources for certain parts, and the maker movement was really in its infancy. And so, like, people were still learning about, the real dimensions for the neutrona wand handles and the real size of the shell, and different people were... So I was getting parts from all different places, trying to put the thing together. This proton pack actually has a Ghostbusters Part 2 ribbon cable on it, because back in '09, there was no source for the Part 1 ribbon, which is what I would have preferred. My buddy Art has since sent me a Part 1 ribbon cable. I just haven't bothered to attach it yet because I've been busy with all this other stuff. So
What other stuff? You don't do anything. Just kidding. Just trying to bait you like everyone else. Okay, Vinkman says, I was 5 when I first saw Ghostbusters 2, and even back then, I thought the He-Man reference was weird. Well, see, that's what I'm thinking, is if you were a kid seeing the movie, you would be in touch with the fact that you either knew about He-Man or you no longer cared about it, so it would feel weird.
Well, it would have made more sense for them to say, oh, I thought it was...
Super Mario Brothers.
Or I thought it was going to be a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah,
or,
yeah. That's kind of what I'm...
Yeah.
Whatever. Just me nitpicking the movie. Zamista Studios says, been stuck alone since the virus. This helps. Well, we're very glad to hear that. Alan, I can't see because of the glare. Starts with a P. Says, hey guys, thanks for doing a live stream every Saturday. Best part of my week. Love you guys and the work you do.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. And thank you for being here.
Yeah, so there was another part that reminded me of you too from the second movie.
Why does the second movie keep reminding you of me?
Well, because the second movie is the only one I've seen recently, like just about 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
So it's more recent in my brain.
Uh-huh.
And there's the whole part. Do you guys remember the part? Remember that time?
That was cool.
That was awesome. Remember the part where he talks about his laundry and how it's not just 2 stages of laundry? It's not just
I have
clean.
many subtle levels.
That is you.
Well, that's probably where I got that from.
That is you. And also, like, guys, here's the answer to that, by the way. You know what I'm going to say. Hooks. You don't need, like, hangers for your in-between stage clothes. You need, like, a system of hooks that are in your closet where you can hang things so they're not on the floor to make your wife or your significant other stressed out and get them all wrinkled, but also, like, you can kind of tell which tier of dirtiness they are. I'm just saying, it's a great idea. Vinkman says, a good friend of mine 3D printed a full-scale proton pack for me a few years ago. Wow. It requires a lot of maintenance, and we're constantly upgrading it. Yeah, I think that's always true.
That was kind of the big laugh between me and my friends, is that when I really ramped up RetroBlasting, that was like a year after I finished the Ghostbusters costume. And so a few of my friends who were still in the upgrading phase, they're still very much into their Ghostbusters outfits. They were constantly telling me, Michael, there's new resistors that have been made by this one guy, and hey, there are these new wands that have the actual, spring-loaded barrels on them, and we can upgrade our packs. And I went, I don't really want to do that. Like, I don't want to invest in that right now. I just don't. Like, I've got other priorities.
This is now vintage.
Yeah, this is a vintage mid-range fan-made proton pack. It was very accurate when it was made, but if you get real close to it now, I'm sure nitpickers out there will be like, that's not right, and this is not right, and they found out about this.
Hey, how nitpicky on a scale of Star Wars to what's a really accepting fan group? What's a really laid back group of fans? Because Star Wars is usually real nitpicky. If 10 is Star Wars level nitpickiness,
I would imagine that,
and then 1 is whatever a really laid back one is, where would you put Ghostbusters?
I would imagine that fans of Cobra Kai / Karate Kid and fans of Dazed and Confused would be really laid back people.
So they're like the VW fans. They're like Volkswagen fans. Because they're usually pretty laid back.
Right.
As opposed to people who really like BMWs.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just, I mean, of German cars, if we're talking. So I'm just asking, on that scale, where does Ghostbusters fall? Is it a 10 like Star Wars? They're that nitpicky?
They're only nitpicky about this stuff.
Oh, just props.
They're only nitpicky about props. They're not nitpicky, to my knowledge. They're not nitpicky about anything else because, frankly, there isn't enough to get nitpicky about.
Joel says, thanks so much for being awesome and creating entertainment for us in the quarantine. Well, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Yeah. I've never gotten into an argument with a Ghostbusters fan over the toys. Well, I take that back.
Well, you're going to get in fights with everyone. Not because of you, but just because you are intersecting with all of them in such a specific way. But I mean, if you were to go to, someone just said, Transformers fans seem to be chill.
Not in my experience.
I don't know if that, because that's Lio Convoy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's being funny. That is not my experience of them. Watching shows just posted on YouTube, like Voltron 2, ? I'm not sure what that means.
Say it again.
Jira says, watching shows just posted on YouTube like Voltron 2.
Oh, they're posting, they're trying to take advantage of this whole people being trapped in their houses.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of content is being opened up for free.
Oh,
so
okay.
People can watch it and get aware of it, I guess, or reacquaint themselves with it.
Beta Ray Bob says, Microman and Micronauts fans are fairly laid back since we haven't had much in the way of anything new in decades. I think, any group of fans, if they're really fans, can be nitpicky because they know so much more about things.
Yeah, but it becomes, in the prop world, it becomes this annoying, dare I say, obnoxious competitiveness.
Yeah.
I've got the latest information.
Or I have the most arcane, bizarre information, too.
I had access to Harold Ramis's Neutrona wand from the film.
That sounds dirty.
And I was able to take a resin cast from it. And I can't tell you.
That really sounds dirty.
Well, I'm just saying that's what people are like. And it's the way it is with Star Wars and stuff too. Well, I know for a fact that the grips on Luke's lightsaber are not made of rubber. They're actually T-track for sliding cabinet doors. Me. I remember those.
Well, actually, Han Solo's pants or coat or whatever it is wasn't actually blue. It was this other brown color. And,
right.
So if you see it in person, it's this color. It's yeah, but on screen, it's this color.
You also need vented pockets because the latest photos and. Yeah, it gets old, and there was to talk about the toys for a minute, and I assume this person is not a Ghostbusters fan because they would have known this, but there was somebody you recall back when the real Ghostbusters videos were made, when we made those, that was adamant that there were
that's always a good sign to start off.
That there were Ghostbusters toys in 1984. that were based on the movie. And I was like, Duder, if that had been the case, if there had been movie toys for Ghostbusters, I would have been the first person buying them. But there weren't
Well, there
any.
is that whole Mandela effect thing,
Yeah.
and I mean, I know some people think that that's like some sort of split parallel universe thing, but I just think it's your brain filling in information in the memory, because a memory is not a reliable data source. So, you know, your memories can mean a lot to you personally, but it doesn't mean that they are infallible at all. And the further away they are, often they get slightly messed up. And so your brain does this wonderful thing, which is very helpful in so many ways. It fills in gaps that you can't remember, and they feel just as real as real memories. So that's kind of what happens. And it's like,
Well, this one guy, the guy I was arguing with, he said, my toy proton pack says copyright 1984. And I said, right, because that's when Ghostbusters as an IP was copyrighted. But that does not mean
it
that
wasn't the first. Well,
the first one was 1984.
Well, I'm talking about Filmation's Ghostbusters, which
Well, we're talking about.
Yes, I
let's
know.
not confuse the issue further.
Real Ghostbusters versus real Ghostbusters.
But my point was, you cannot go buy a copyright stamp for a movie IP on a toy and say that's when it came out. It doesn't work that way. You know?
Yeah. I know now. The more you know. Clemens says, many subtle levels of clothes is a guy thing for sure. It's similar to Michael's level of disdain for the new Star Wars movies. Yeah. I mean,
I'd say that's accurate.
I would say certainly since quarantine, I do subtle levels of clothes as well, because I mean, I'm not even leaving the house. So how dirty can they really be? You know?
Did we see Lio Convoy's super chat up there?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
But there's also more down below, because
Lio Convoy, thank you so much for the super chat. And I've said this before on live streams. If you love Thundercats and animation and Transformers and animation news and knowledge, check out Lio Convoy reviews on YouTube. I'm a big fan of his channel.
Travels with Jason F says, keep it up as you two make me smile and laugh. Thanks. You're very welcome. Vinkman says, Michael, what's that behind Ecto 1 and Slimer?
Well, one is the urine tube, the evacuation tube. Then
these are the litter box cleaning gloves.
These are the gloves that you just, if you're Venkman, you just kind of fold them over your belt for the most part. And then this is the walkie-talkie that they used in the original Ghostbusters.
It fits into a holster right here.
It fits into a holder on the belt.
This is a Canada Dry Diet Ginger Ale.
It's a Motorola MT500.
Lio Convoy, here's the thing you wanted to see. Tell a G1 fan that Beast Wars is better written. You'll see how chill they are. Transformers Twitter is currently mad at MPRC's posing in
promo images.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
Well, a masterpiece toy is being posed in promotional images, and the fans are upset about how it was posed because RC is female. Therefore, I infer that somebody posed it in a risque manner or something.
That's not a stretch.
I'm just saying, I'm using context clues.
Wouldn't your stuff fall out of vented pockets, says Beta Ray Bob.
Well, good question, Bob. They had some very strict ideas about how Han Solo's pockets were on his jacket in Empire Strikes Back, and the funny part was...
You know what? At some point, we need to do a live stream about cosplay.
Costuming.
Whatever.
Cosplay to me screams anime. That term came out of anime.
Kind of like weird parties at Dragon Con that are late night.
Yeah, furries and yeah, like I just continue to call it costuming. That's
Gen X Toys, this is Jody. He says, always found that the real Ghostbusters Stay Puffed is so small. Still looking for one that's more in scale.
Yeah, it's a real problem. They did come out with a plush one in the real Ghostbusters line that they showed on the back of the box could be used with the figures that was taller. You can probably grab that one if you don't mind a plushie Stay Puffed.
Lio Convoy says your inference of context clues is on point. Good job, Michael.
Well, Thomas and I are usually on the same wavelength when it comes to that kind of
Peter
stuff.
Venkman says, what is your shirt today, Melinda? It is my new update to my Lost My Dying Bride t-shirt, Turn Loose the Swans.
Wait, you lost your My Dying Bride t-shirt? How long ago? How long ago?
Look, check this out.
How long ago? How long ago did you lose?
I don't know.
Was it
How
while
do
we
you know when you lose something?
Was it while we lived here?
I don't know. This is the difference between me and Michael, is like, I don't know things. So Matt says, forgive my English ignorance, but are Stay Puft Marshmallows a real product?
They were not. They did come out with a promotional Stay Puft marshmallow set of marshmallow box of marshmallows. What?
Sorry. Matt Film Productions. That's really interesting. He says, was the He-Man reference in Ghostbusters 2 an in-joke dig, perhaps, at Filmation due to the lawsuit going on? The lawsuit would have already happened, though, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
But that is funny, even if that's not the point, just because... Yeah.
Anyway,
Sorry.
About 10 years ago, they came out with Stay Puft Marshmallows as an officially licensed Ghostbusters thing. The odd part was the marshmallows were not in a bag. They were in like a box, almost like Malamars. And they were square, like cube marshmallows, and they were caffeinated. And it said caffeinated marshmallows. So I don't know. I think most Ghostbusters fans just bought it to keep the box. But that's the only time there have actually been any Stay Puft branded marshmallows. And they did not look or were packaged anyway like the movie.
Matt Swafford says, hair looks great today, Melinda. Well, thank you, Matt. It took like 30 minutes to do, so I appreciate that. He says, also, can we talk about how terrifying the boogeyman was in the cartoon? Can we talk about how terrifying that Stay Puft Marshmallow Man thing is? That is like nightmare fuel more than anything else I've ever seen.
Melinda doesn't like it, especially when it's smiling and the smiling turns to frowning. And
can I just say that thing and the abominable snowman from the Rudolph claymation-y thing that they did are like the scariest things from my childhood.
Do you know you don't have to say, can I say, because you have a microphone and they don't. So
I could
you
punch
can
you
say
in the face.
Everything you want.
I could throw this urine hose at you.
And you have.
And I will.
All right. So
I was trying to be emphatic.
So the boogeyman is the scariest thing to ever come out of the Ghostbusters franchise.
I disagree.
Bar none.
Nope.
And I mention it very prominently in the Real Ghostbusters RetroBlasting feature video series. So I have not left that stone unturned.
Bumble. Why are they saying Bumble?
I assume Bumble is some sort of character from the Real Ghostbusters show. I assume.
Okay. AL says, sounds like you guys have been on lockdown together for too long. I think we get along pretty well, considering we've been locked in this house for over 2 months.
Oh, we're fine. It's no problem. We're good.
We just, joke around like that. The Bumble is the abominable snowman from It has a name? Oh, I just... Ugh. Mm-mm.
Oh, the Bumble from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Yeah. Yes, sorry. I'm in Ghostbusters mode right now, so everything people say in the chat, I'm applying to Ghostbusters, and it's coloring everything. So, yes.
Aaron, thank you for the super chat. He has no words. He just.
Well, thanks.
2 pounds. Just. Okay. Let me see. I've got all these questions over here. Have you been able to locate or play the West End Games RPG?
I've seen the West End Games RPG. I have not played it. I was too busy collecting the West End Games Star Wars RPG for many years. And then I got out of role-playing games entirely. So I don't really collect many manuals for those anymore. As I've said on a number of live streams, it's all about picking where your resources are going. So when it comes to Ghostbusters right now, for example, there's a lot of people asking me, are you going to pick up the re-releases of the Real Ghostbusters figures? I'm like, no, I still have my originals. I don't need those. Are you going to pick up The Plasma series figures, maybe. It all depends. You know, I've got the Mattel ones. Do I really need another set of the 4 Ghostbusters? Possibly. But you know what I actually am interested in and have recently purchased the rest of the line is the Ghostbusters Playmobil. The Ghostbusters Playmobil set. I take it you need a mouse.
I got it. Sorry, guys. Please keep talking. I'll get this. My screen went crazy.
And your mouse pad's not working well.
I've got it. I'm very skilled.
Okay.
He doesn't believe me, but it's true.
Well, I can just go get you a mouse pad.
Look, I've got it. See?
All right. Well, check the super chats.
I am checking the super chats. Everything's fine.
So, I'm really interested in the Playmobil stuff because it looks like a fully realized Ghostbusters world. Timothy was kind enough to send us for Christmas the Firehouse set from Playmobil, and so as of last night, I've picked up the Ecto one and the smaller mini play sets, and I'm going to do a Modern Musings sort of mini feature about the Playmobil Ghostbusters stuff. I didn't pick up the Ghostbusters 2 stuff. I only did everything for Ghostbusters 1. But I think that'll be a really cool video, and I really like where that is. To me, it's not so much about... it's like if I had to pick between Playmobil and Plasma series, Hasbro, I'm going to pick Playmobil because Playmobil is building the world. Hasbro is just once again saying, here are the characters, again, with nothing to interact with.
Vinkman says, not the props. I meant, what's that rectangular box behind Ecto 1 nearest to the camera?
Oh, this? This is the Nintendo...
rectangular box.
This right here. Oh, that. That is the foot pedal for the Ghost Trap. So that's the Ghost Trap, and that's the foot pedal for it.
Are you going to talk about the Ghost Trap? Because you were convinced that people were going to have things to say about the Ghost Trap. Well, the Ghost Trap
here is, this is not a Matty Collector Ghost Trap. It is not an electronic plastic toy Ghost Trap. This is a pre-ease of purchase Ghostbusters props era prop. Much like this.
It's vintage.
This was a fan-made prop to be displayed and or worn on the belt during costuming at a convention.
By the way, anytime somebody wants to costume shame you at a convention, just say, no, this is vintage. And then...
Just cause Mark 1.
Jody says, just cause Mark 1. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Jeff David Lowe, thank you very much for the no-text super chat. Midnight's Edge says, just a couple of sets on Real Ghostbusters.
Does Michael keep cutting out? Do I keep cutting out? Or
no one else is saying that. So.
Guys, sometimes if other people aren't saying it, it might be the connection issue on your end. It's just a matter of checking your settings and your Wi-Fi and everything like that.
He says never mind.
Okay.
So I can't. Unfortunately, I have to make that go away. Tim's typing something, but I can't read all of that right now. What Ghostbusters toys did you want that they never made? Sam Heen or Hine would have been mine.
Well, you're referring to the real Ghostbusters, which I think we've talked about this before. I would have liked a Boogeyman figure. I would have liked some of those villains from the show. I would have really liked Ghostbusters toys that were based on the first movie back when I was a kid. That would have been nice. And for the second movie, as a matter of fact, which they kind of tried to incorporate into the real Ghostbusters toy line, and it only sort of worked.
Would the real Ghostbusters toy line have been successful if the Ghostbusters movies had their own merchandise?
Well, the first Ghostbusters movie wasn't competing against a cartoon, so it didn't matter. That line would have been successful. A real Ghostbusters show would have only continued that. And then there was a Ghostbusters movie, part 2, during the real Ghostbusters show, and it didn't really affect that toy line's success in any way. That show was on the way out, I believe, by the early 90s after that, but that's just due to brand saturation.
Just making sure I haven't missed any super chats. Okay. Any opinion on Dan Aykroyd's vodka?
I think someone was saying that he was referring to this. This is the Nintendo game. He
Okay.
wasn't referring to that. He's referring to this.
I mean, how could I possibly know?
Well,
They're
I'm
both
just
black
saying this is the
boxes near
Nintendo.
the
This,
Ecto
this
one.
is the Nintendo game from the mid to late '80s.
He said closest to the camera, so I'm just.
Oh well, okay, well.
I'm
Yeah.
right. Thoughts on Dan Aykroyd's vodka?
It's very smooth. It doesn't have that glycol taste to it. It's nice. I'm a whiskey guy myself, but it's a very good vodka. I've had it. It's good.
I feel that it's slightly overrated, and mostly the price point is for the cool skull that it comes in, but it's all right. I mean, it's not my favorite vodka, but it's good. Has your opinion changed about the real Ghostbusters Kenner toys?
What opinion are you implying? Are you talking about the fact that the proton streams are fragile? Because my opinion on that's never going to change. They are fragile and they break. And if you doubt me on that, just go on eBay and try and find them intact without paying out the wazoo for them. Why do you think they've been forensically recreated and re-released in Walmarts? Because people are desperate to have those figures again complete. That's the thing. Between that and all the dumb variations that were in the line that did not interest me as a kid and do not interest me now, I'm not about to go out and buy Fright Features Ghostbusters and Slimed Heroes Ghostbusters. No more than I'm going to go buy Farmer Ninja Turtles. So if you're asking me if that opinion is going to change, no, it's not. I mean, I'm on the record.
Vinkman says, no, I was talking about the NES game. I wasn't sure if it was an 80s computer game or a mid-90s VHS tape.
Yeah, that's the original Nintendo game there, Vinkman. Yep.
You can just write this date down in history that I was wrong. It's a sad day. I'm going to cry later. I'm going to set aside about 5 minutes and just have a good cry, get it all out. Yeah. Wicked Person, thank you for the super chat. Aaron says, for the live streams and for being awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks. That eases the burn, the pain a little bit. Lio Convoy's review says, anyone who costume shames missed the guys that ran around with lightsabers while wearing a box with the word Gundam written on Sharpie on it.
Yeah. Someone's shocked that there was a... someone's shocked that... Go down. Someone's shocked that there were Farmer Ninja Turtles. Rich, go watch our Ninja Turtles feature. Part 2, we do a rundown of all the different variations that Playmates made. Yeah. See, this is what they don't want you to remember in history. And this is also what fans who are... I heard a phrase yesterday from somebody saying, he said, I have to be loyal to my childhood. And I'm like, what does that even mean? And I think what loyal to childhood meant...
My childhood hasn't been loyal to me, so...
I think what he meant was anything that I had in my childhood automatically is better than anything else that I encounter that might have even been made then that I didn't have. So anything that's my favorite thing has to be something that I already owned. And I'm like, why is that even a factor? Why is loyalty a thing for this? And so when it comes to these lines like Ninja Turtles and Real Ghostbusters, you bring up something like, no, that line was kind of ridiculous at times, like with Farmer Ninja Turtles, and a fan who's loyal to their childhood Ninja Turtles, they go, da 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 da. They discount that stuff, even though it's real and you can buy it, you know.
Yeah, so Jody keeps saying this, just because, Mark II, second just cause. I mean, that's...
Okay, well, maybe...
That's fine. It's clearly
it must
a topic that I don't know what you're talking about, but that's okay. Like, I don't need to understand everything. My brain just, if I don't get it, I just go, all right, and then I just move past it. I don't care. Someone says, every time Melinda doesn't like something, take a drink. That's a cool way to go. I mean...
Hey, Bren Gun, you said, what a weird dude. Who's the weird dude? Is it somebody in the chat?
I don't know. So, what do you think about the Kenner Classics? No, did you already answer that? Yeah, you did. What do you think of the Extreme Ghostbusters toys and cartoons?
Those toys were out when I had just started college, late high school, college, and I didn't get a chance to really watch that show or get invested in that product line. I understand there is some nostalgia for it. I have no experience with it, and from what I understand, much like Inspector Gadget, uh, those toys have become hard to find, and they're pricey. So because I have no immediate connection to it, and there's so much other stuff I still need to cover, I have not made Extreme Ghostbusters a priority. But for those that love it, great. You know,
Master Son says William Tortosa asks, "Do you think the movie would have had the same reception if John Belushi and Eddie Murphy had been cast as they originally intended?"
no, I don't think so. I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been successful. It just would have been successful in a different way, and possibly this is just me being, speculative. John Belushi and Eddie Murphy at that time were not actors that were in crossover films like for kids. So if John Belushi and Eddie Murphy had both been in Ghostbusters, it might not have had the crossover audience and appeal with young children. I'm just saying.
I like all the people who were cast in.
I'm not saying kids don't like them. I'm saying they are often more adult humor actors.
I agreed, but I'm just saying he asked if it would have been more successful if it had been Eddie Murphy, and I don't, and whoever else the other
John
person.
Belushi.
I don't know. I think the strength, especially of the first movie, is in the script. It's not. I mean, the actors do a great job with the material, and I think it would be hard to top Bill Murray. Like, he really carries a lot of the comedy.
Right.
He's the crazy, wacky guy, whereas everyone else feels like the straight man, wouldn't you say?
Hey, Wilson, sorry about missing your question. I don't know if you would send a super chat or not. I apologize for that. We do try to collect up questions in the background that aren't super chats, and then Melinda tries to go over and read a few of them because the chat moves so quickly. Sometimes what happens is your question might get picked up by Timothy and Melinda, and then it gets asked,
Much later.
Much later. But we do our best to try and keep up with the flow of conversation. It's very frenetic.
I'm also having some computer issues, so I can't use my touchpad the correct way.
Okay,
so
I'm going to give them an opportunity to play the game. I'm going to get up and I'm going to get you a mouse.
Great.
Even though you told me not to. Do you notice how she told me not to, but now she's saying she wants one?
I don't recall that. Maybe your computer is haunted. Well, it's possible. Yeah, it's weird because the touchpad works, but the mouse clicky buttons on the touchpad do not work. So if you press them, they don't clicky click. That's the official way to describe it, in case you didn't know. Keith, yes, Mom and Dad are fighting again, but we're doing it in a very, low-key, understated kind of a way. And, I just don't really get rattled very easily, so... Yeah. Oh, well, Jason, that's quite possible that my computer is sitting too close to an unlicensed nuclear accelerator. Yeah. Master Son says, I decided to pay for two people's questions and give them a super chat on me if I liked the question. That will be my new thing. So, yeah, like I said, I try very hard, but, we've all been failures, and I'm no different. Jeez.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Man, this is some, retro...
Yeah, it's called It Will Work.
What does this even do? Jeez.
I love it how she's like, wow, this is all so retro. And she's like, got a broken modern touchpad that won't work. And, try getting a wireless one to attach to that right now.
Guess you guys weren't expecting to watch a person in their 40s learn how to use a mouse today on the live stream. This mouse is vintage, you guys. Look at it.
I am a big believer in cable connections and physical media.
Midnight's Edge says, well, it is retro blasting. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, thank God it worked this time. Last time I did that, it totally screwed up.
You know why it's working? Because it's an actual mouse with a cord attached to it.
I don't even want to go in. It has nothing to do with the mouse. It has to do with the fact that this computer was previously connected to two screens. And so sometimes you'll open a window and it's opening on a screen that's no longer connected to your computer.
Do you know it's just occurred to me that you haven't had a completely successful test of that laptop yet? You should blame yourself.
I blame you.
It's a line from the movie. Never mind. You know what?
Well, isn't that the next line?
No, he says, I blame myself. And then he says, so do I.
Oh, I knew it was something like that. I was trying to do the thing. I just don't remember lines as well as you. All right. Retro mousing. That's great. So, who's on first? Do you remember? What's my favorite episode of The Real Ghostbusters? What is my favorite episode of The Real Ghostbusters, Michael?
I would think your favorite episode...
It's the real scary one. With
the Boogeyman.
Yeah, I do like that one. I just think that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is equally as scary, if not scarier, to me. Because the other thing is, like, intentionally scary, whereas Stay Puft is, like, not supposed to be scary. And there's something almost clown-like menacing about that. I don't know. Jody is going to be picky now and says the mouse isn't vintage. It has no ball on the bottom. You're not a true mouse fan. That's true. I mean, I don't care. Scott says, hell yeah, no one can edit my Blu-rays while I'm asleep. Physical media rules.
That's right. Exactly. Physical media is the way. I have spoken.
I don't have a strong opinion, so I don't really care. Let's see. I think there are advantages to both myself. Have you guys ever thought about designing your own toys?
No. Well, no, not really. I see that Ryan's Toys stuff in the toy store, and I'm just like, ooh, I threw up in my mouth a little bit because of the self-promotion of it all. It's just like...
Paul says, I'm going to drop the grenade. Thoughts on the 2016 reboot?
Brave man, Paul. We watched it on streaming. That was one where I didn't even want to take a risk on physical media, and I certainly wasn't going to see it in the theater.
Silver Phantom says, Taco Bell is awesome. I agree.
If you like diarrhea, Taco Bell is for you.
I mean, I've had food poisoning from them twice, and every once in a while I'm still like, you roll the dice, you take your chances.
But Melinda and I, if I recall correctly, we both found it profoundly unfunny. It was just a very tone deaf movie with a lot of dud joke attempts, and
I was really confused about why it was called Ghostbusters. It just seemed like another Saturday Night Live movie style thing where it's all just non-scripted ad-lib jokes.
Right.
That really had nothing to do with the plot or moving anything forward. The plot didn't make a whole lot of sense when you actually paid attention to it or could even try to pay attention to it. There was a lot of like fan servicey moments, but they fell very shy of the mark. And then the tone was just really weird. So like it was like all the Chris Hemsworth stuff was just very weird because it would have made a lot more sense if Janine's character in the original film had been a very sex pot type character that was ditzy and like, oh my God, like, but she wasn't. She was a very smart, cool female character. So I feel like it was unnecessarily political or something. Like it's not that there were women in the roles. It's just that the script was awful and it didn't even have even close to the right tone. The problem is, as you and I have talked about, the original Ghostbusters was so reliant on that script. That's what's making it funny. It's not like a bunch of slapstick comedy. It's not just the fact that Bill Murray or any of those other guys are particularly funny, although that helps. The strength is in the writing and the very fast back and forth repartee, and that just was literally the opposite done in this other movie. And I think personally that that's why it failed, and that's why the fans were angry. And
Yeah.
but aside from just going off on a whole thing about it, that's my take on it for what it's worth. All right, so they say, well, Janine in part 2. So speaking of Janine in part 2, she wasn't like overly sexualized, I don't think. She was just flirting.
Janine was portrayed as a little more traditionally feminine because they had just done the cartoon and they were trying to make more of the cartoon aesthetic impose itself into the new film. That's why Winston didn't have a mustache in the second movie. And yeah, but again, if you really think as an individual, if you really think that Hollywood was making decisions about the characters in 2016 based on Ghostbusters 2, and you think that's a justification for Chris Hemsworth as compared to Janine in part 2, which isn't even close to Chris Hemsworth in the new film, even by that standard, then I think you're fooling yourself a little bit, because the only movie that the industry is going to remember when it comes to trying to recreate Ghostbusters is part 1.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I didn't understand a lot of the decisions they made. Like, if you're going to try to redo that movie and you're going to half-ass it, then there are still other ways, other tonal directions you could go.
Right.
To kind of have a different style, modern update version that's taking everything less seriously and whatever. But, again, as your Iger sanctioning video points out, and not to self-promote, but I'm just saying, you've already talked about this, the studios who are making these properties do not care what fans think about this. They care about what muggles,
right,
who are just your people who like to watch Desperate Housewives, want to see now. So they're marketing these movies not just for us wacky nerds, but for like everyone. And so I think that's why you're getting a lot of these weird, like, things that don't feel like they're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
So, Keymaster Pete says, assuming it goes ahead, are you guys planning on going to Dragon Con this year? I'm coming over from the UK and would love to see one of your panels.
Well, you might want to check with Dragon Con to make sure they haven't canceled due to Corona, because I know
they have not canceled as of yet, as far as I know. What I do know is that the city of Atlanta has made a statement that has everyone on edge about Dragon Con, because it's stated that it's not issuing any. It's weird language. It's very legalese, but it's something about not issuing permits for certain things. And I assume that they would have already had a permit, but I don't know. People are concerned as to whether or not they will be able to proceed. They're basically not saying right now, and they're also not saying whether or not they're going to be giving people's money back.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would assume that if they don't give their money back, that they would like carry it forward to the next year or something like that. But anyway, keep your eyes peeled for that. We're just going to have to wait and see what's going on. But we don't have any firm plans to attend or not attend. Bren Gunn says, thank you for all the great content. Small donation for all the drama you endure. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So what are your thoughts on Hasbro reissuing the first wave of real...
I think it's good for Ghostbusters fans. I myself am not interested in paying $20 for re-released figures that as I've said in my Real Ghostbusters video, as a child, my experience with those figures was, oh gosh, these are fragile. I cannot allow these to break. And so miraculously, I was able to keep my 4 Ghostbusters intact throughout childhood because I played with them very gingerly. So I have no incentive to go out and get the re-released ones at $20 a figure. I just don't. They won't look exactly the same either. Like the Star Wars Retro Collection, there will be differences in the quality of the plastic, differences in the sculpting, the size, everything like that. There will be subtle differences once they're side by side. As I've stated earlier in the live stream, I have invested recently more. They're on order, and I'll be doing a video about them. I have invested in the entire Playmobil Ghostbusters range for part 1, which I think will be a very, very cool set of toys. And I will be doing a big video about those when they all arrive.
Michael, can I just say that this mouse is a real delight to use? It's so much easier.
Are you just saying that, or do you really think that?
No, I really...
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your opportunity to...
A corded mouse, as old technology as it is still...
Is a mouse really a mouse without a tail? I mean...
Right. And isn't it kind of like in music where they say, you know, like if you're a piano player, it's always better to have like a real like baby grand piano to play on than it is a Casio?
I guess it depends on what you're going for. I was trying to be nice.
I'm taking it as such.
Chris says, the great live stream, don't cross the streams, LOL. Would you do a live stream on 80s horror movies?
I know she would.
I mean, I would. I don't know if Michael would want to do that.
I'd do it. I'd do the live stream. I wouldn't have much to say because I haven't.
So you would be like the Melinda in that
Yes.
situation. You would have to just rely on
tell you what,
live by your wits.
You know what we should
on
do?
the edge of your seat,
know what
like
we
I do every
you
one of
know
these because
what
I
we
don't know
should-
jack
you-
crap about it.
You know what we should do? We should do that live stream and we switch seats and I manage that while you answer all the questions.
Oh God,
What?
I don't think that's a good idea.
Why? That's a great idea. I think that's a great idea.
Shout it out in the comments if you think that's a great idea. Jody says, just cuz Mark III and compensation for confusing you with my weirdness and corny jokes. Well, that's a very generous super chat. Thank you, Jody. Vinkman says, I've heard people say they were disappointed about the real Ghostbusters not looking like the movie characters. Since I watched the cartoon before I saw the movie, it was the other way around for me.
It was
That
weird
makes
for me.
sense.
It was weird for me because I was I plugged into the real Ghostbusters after the first few episodes, but that first episode that I was there for on Saturday morning, I did not like the way they looked at first.
They say, then she can get all snippy on you. I like this plan now.
First of all, I get snippy on everybody,
He does.
not just Melinda.
It's true. You guys know he gets snippy with you. I just don't care if he gets snippy with me. I'm like,
And I don't care that I get snippy. So it all works.
yeah, it's fine. It's entertainment, right? Kay Burns says they are making a storyline with their grandkids, but what is more important, the 4 Ghostbusters or the tech? I got into the tech first, jokes second. I assume you're talking about the new movie?
Yeah, well, how old were you when you got into the tech first?
Right.
Because what?
Someone says, if Melinda ever did a stand-up comedy show, I'd attend. Well, that's very thoughtful of you. Thank you. Oh my God.
Because Ghostbusters is a comedy first and foremost. The tech was always meant to drive the story, not be the story.
Wow, Wolfie, this is not the first time you've done this either.
Oh my gosh. Wow, thank you so much.
That is extraordinarily generous of you. Thank you so much. He says, Kenner Ghostbusters was a main focus for me as a child before secondhand Star Wars. I missed out on the main 4 guys and had to wait for the Slimed series to get the guys with proton packs.
Yep.
I feel like Granny Ghost was my Imperial dignitary moment as a kid. Love you guys.
Wolf, just real quick, let me know, since you didn't have the 4 originals as a kid, did you eventually get some secondhand on a collector's market? Or are you going out to Walmart to get the re-releases? I'm genuinely curious what you plan to do. You don't have to super chat. We'll watch for the response in the comments.
I feel like, yeah, Wolfie needs to have something like a video. Tell us a video you want us to make for you, and we'll just make you a video.
Don't open up that can of worms.
Why?
All right, fine.
Someone asked, who's more sensitive, me or you?
Me.
That's true.
I
do not give a F.
Look, you can push.
Listen to how I did not swear, you guys. Can I get a round of applause?
Look, you can push me. Melinda will tell you. as long as I'm still angry, you've got a chance. But if you push me past the point of caring of any emotion, that's where it's going to get ugly.
That's true. Like, Michael will he gets mad because he cares. But then once he gets mad enough, he stops caring, and then see, I immediately go to not caring. See, that's how emotionally damaged I am. I just instantly don't care, and I'm like, you can just go play in traffic and die. Bye.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm meaner than you.
Right. She's meaner than
I
me
am
from
much
the outset.
meaner than him. He gets mad and like snips, but like I will just go right for the throat. So that's really kind of the difference. Midnight's Edge, do not feel bad that you can't contribute this week. But man, Wolfie, jeez Louise.
Did Wolfie have a response?
I'm trying to read. So Master Sun says, Master Painter 72 says, have seen the teaser trailers for the upcoming, have we seen the teaser trailers for Ghostbusters 3? And do we have thoughts?
Yeah, I think I said on another live stream or somebody else's show, I don't have a problem with the trailer for the new film. I'm just waiting for the movie now, but I don't have a problem with that trailer at all. So we'll just have to see what occurs.
Hey, you guys, can you hear the clicky of this mouse?
Well, at least it works.
Clicky. Okay, Thunder Robot says, why do some Kenner firehouses have purple bricks and some don't?
That's a good question. It's probably a factory variance of some kind. Yeah.
Melinda, do you or Michael have any ghost experiences? Kind of.
I mean, I had a few women that I wanted to date back in the day ghost me. Does that count?
Peter Venkman says, Melinda is a meanie? Yes, I am. Ask any of my ex-boyfriends. Ghost experiences. So we were living in like temporary quarters on the base in Alaska right before we moved back out of Alaska. And I don't know if it was haunted, but my dad swears it was haunted. It could have just been really crazy electrical wiring. It was a townhouse. It was only in that one unit. But I mean, literally the fire alarm would go off like if you took a shower. Like, and I remember it happened to me when I had full shampoo in my hair and like the fire alarm went off and it's like really freaking loud. And then after my mom and I left and my dad stayed there for a little while longer to finish out his tour, it continued to have weird stuff. Stuff would move around in the house. My dad would swear, like, I left my coffee cup here, and then he'd find it down in the basement where he never went, and just weird stuff like that. So, or it could have been a serial killer. Either one. Both scary. Vinkman says, I loved Peter Venkman's book. Let me start over. I loved Peter Venkman's look on the real Ghostbusters. When I first saw the original movie, I thought Bill Murray was a step down from his animated counterpart. I have since reappraised my opinion.
Well, there's no wrong opinion about that. It's just what you like. I think both sets of depictions have their advantages. Go back up under his super chat.
Okay. Under this one down here.
Vinkman's, yeah.
I don't know what the question was that went
along with that. Yeah. Dean, what was the question? Kylie Minogue doesn't count.
Jody says that I missed a couple of super chats, but I don't know. King Eric says, did you watch the fake Ghostbusters, the ape one? You mean the original Ghostbusters?
Well, yeah, we did a whole video segment on that.
Yeah, we watched like the TV show and then we watched their cartoon. So
go back up and see if you have super chats.
I read that one. Talk about something else, Michael. This is not entertaining.
Okay, well, I'm trying to finish out the whole Ghostbusters toy line in an appropriate way at some point with another video. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that because I really don't want to invest in a lot of the slimed heroes and ecto glow heroes and all that kind of stuff. But I also don't want to use photographs. It might boil down to me just doing things in groups, like taking a group like I did with the classic creatures. And it might be me just focusing on the ghosts instead of the variant heroes. That might be what I'll do.
If I have missed any super chats, I apologize. I've literally looked back quite a way, and I feel that I've read all of the ones that I am seeing on my screen. So, I will hope that one of my crew members can look it up for me and see if I've missed something that I am unaware of. Continuing on.
Yeah, next time, guys, if you say that we've missed a super chat, why don't you copy that super chat so that when Timothy sees it, he can document it so that...
Yeah, I mean, it's harder now that we don't have like crew here in the room too to help us keep an eye on it. We're working with all these different. I have like a bunch of screens open here trying to keep track of it. So I apologize to anyone that I haven't gotten to your question. Michael and Melinda, are you? I feel like you've answered this already. Are you looking forward to the Afterlife movie?
I've looked forward to that.
Have you seen video from Hollywood Horror Nights of the Ghostbusters haunted house? Looks really cool if you're into that sort of thing.
I have not seen any of the video from that. No.
Sounds interesting. Not real big on haunted houses, but mostly I just want to punch people when they try to like get real. Because the people
He says missed Venkman's $10.
I've heard people say that they were disappointed about the real Ghostbusters not looking like the movie characters.
I thought I answered that where I was talking. Yeah, I did answer that. I was talking about how I was disappointed at first in the first episode, but then I got used to it. Yeah, I answered that question.
I thought so. So, have you visited any of the locations from the first movie?
I've only visited the library in New York. I have not visited the firehouse nor Columbia University or anything like that. I've only visited the library. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not a movie locations guy in a that's not really something that I necessarily do. It takes a project I'm working on or something like that for me to really want to go visit a place like that. And also, from what I understand, it's sometimes tough to get around the firehouse over there in New York. That was what I was told.
There was another one Jody says I missed, but I did read that one. So I believe I have read all the super chats. Bunyan Snipe says, in hindsight, it's weird that Bill Murray hated that the cartoon Venkman sounded like Garfield.
Yeah, because then he ended up being Garfield in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that in the Real Ghostbusters feature video as well.
Yeah, Keith sort of elaborates and says Lorenzo Music did the voice for Garfield, and Venkman, then full circle, Bill Murray did the voice for Garfield too. So, yeah. Did you try to get the Ghostbusters cereal in the 80s? I never had it. Did
No, I never got a lot of licensed character cereals.
I did, but I don't remember getting that one. I wonder what it was like.
I got the opposite of Ghostbusters cereal. It was called Life.
So the Xbox 360 video game was supposed to be Ghostbusters 3. Did you play it? I think it was great.
You're talking about this one right here. I played it on the PC, and they've since they've since remastered it. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, it's a great game.
Which character from the real Ghostbusters is your favorite? Mine was Peter before they changed his voice actor.
Yeah, mine would have been Peter as well before they changed the voice. I did not like it when they changed his voice later on, but by that point I had kind of checked out from that show anyway. I was there for the full ABC Saturday morning run, and then when it went syndicated, I didn't stick around very long.
Kay Burns says, have you said what your thoughts were about the sequel? We haven't specifically talked about the sequel. I feel like I saw Ghostbusters 2 a lot more than I saw Ghostbusters 1, and I think it's because it was like...
It was a cable favorite.
It was a cable thing.
Yeah.
Because it was a subpar. It wasn't as good as the original, so it was probably cheaper for them to put in...
Well, a lot of those films in the summer of '89 that couldn't compete with Batman and Last Crusade ended up doing the cable circuit a lot. So I've seen Ghostbusters 2, Star Trek 5, and License to Kill more than any other films in those franchises probably.
Yeah.
Because they were always on cable.
Yeah.
And Ghostbusters 2 I saw in the theater.
Wow.
My mom took us to see it. We were actually out of...
Do you remember what time of year it came out?
It was summer.
Like, it was in the summer?
Yeah, because they were all crammed up in the summer together.
Because I feel like I saw it in the theater, but I might not have, because I was literally in the process of moving from one state to across the country. So maybe I didn't. You guys, let me say that I don't like something. So I don't like I don't like marzipan. So now you can take 2 drinks. So let's see. Here's a question. Do you like Slimer better as a good guy or a bad guy? I don't like Slimer at all. I personally find him to be very irritating, but I think I would say I like him better as a bad guy because then he doesn't really talk, as far as I recall. But then again, I haven't. Does Slimer talk in the first movie?
No. He
Yeah,
doesn't
so
talk.
I like him better as a bad guy because in the second movie he became a good guy, right? Or was that
Well,
just in the
he just
cartoon?
became kind of
A pet?
pet,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I don't like the Black Album by Metallica. So there, you can have another drink. Melinda, where did you move in 1989? Wouldn't you like to know? No, I'm
There
just
it
kidding.
is.
I moved to Alabama. So
Hardee's, the official Ghostbusters 2 Hardee's cup.
I
Back
like
when
to
we-
pretend that he's, got his hand turned the other direction. That's funnier to me. Keith says, Melinda hates Slimer and Baby Yoda. That's true. I don't like little things like that talk and try to I find them annoying. I know Baby Yoda probably
I got
doesn't
that
talk.
cup in the summer of '89 during the whole Ghostbusters 2 thing.
Wow.
That's impressive that I still have that cup.
Stupid mouse. Okay. Did you also stop watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon when they made all the changes in the later seasons? The moment they made Slimer and the real Ghostbusters, I literally stopped watching.
Yeah, I stopped watching soon after they went into syndication. Like I said, I did not keep up with the show long after it left Saturday mornings, especially given that the toys were so fragile, and I ended up not getting the car or the firehouse as a child. I just had the 4 Ghostbusters and Slimer. That was it. I moved on to G.I. Joe at that point and never looked back.
Connor says marzipan is very tolerable if you're drinking amaretto. That may be true, but as someone who loves to bake, do you know how you have to make marzipan? You really have to get your hands in it. To get the temperature of your hands helps to sort of smooth it out and help it to roll out, which means that someone's hands have been just all over it. So every time you're eating it, just think about grandma's hands, or whoever, Betty at the bakery, just putting her grubby mitts all over your food. There's no way around it. I mean, you can wash your hands, but are they surgically scrubbing before this process? I don't think so. So I know we all had to learn recently how to wash our hands, or those of us who are not medical professionals had to learn how to correctly wash your hands. So I'm just saying, I don't know if everyone who handles marzipan, that's part of the reason why it's super gross. But anyways. Melinda, what color is your hair? Well, it's this color. What color do you guys think it is? Take a poll. Let's see. Did you enjoy Ecto Cooler?
I didn't have much of it. I had enough of it that I know that I experienced it, but I don't have a memory of it. I just remember it always being in stores. But I didn't really buy it. By the time Ecto Cooler was really on the market, I was in another country.
Someone says, he says he's colorblind. Okay, well, all right, I'll give you a pass. It's red. It's red now.
Well, it's natural red, not like Crayola red.
Right. But it used to be Crayola red. It used to be this color red, the color of that. And also, before that, it was black, black.
When I met you, it was brown.
I just change it up. You know what? Because, you only live on this earth a finite amount of time. You should try out all the things. So taste all the flavors, try all the hair colors, cut your hair short at least once, ladies, or grow it out long at least once. Just know what experiences are like. Check them off your list. You will be, even if they're little things, I'm going to try an ecto cooler or whatever it is. You know, it'll make you be a more well-rounded person. In 1989, did you have the Slimer Sundae from Hardee's or the Ghost Zapper? Wow, that sounds disgusting. Did it have like a green thing on it, like it's on the Sundae? That sounds
The
nasty.
Ghost Zapper was a toy, wasn't it, from Kenner that projected things on the walls? It looked like the Neutrona wand. I don't remember those items at Hardee's. I just know that Hardee's was the HQ for Ghostbusters because I have the cup from it because we went there in the summer of '89 because I had to have the cup.
Pedro says, my mother was a home economist, so I was raised to wash my hands correctly, and as such can confirm that those in the catering industry wash their hands properly. Well, I'm sure that a lot of them do, but I'm just saying, like, marzipan's just kind of... I also don't like the flavor. Some people are saying you should bleach your hair.
No, I won't do that.
Fat Rob says I'm going to grow a mullet before I die. Peter says, aren't all the hair color places closed? Yes, but you know, you can do all kinds of things at home. And that's another fun learning adventure that you can go on. You can watch YouTube videos of how to do crazy things to your hair, and since you're not going out anyway, just do it, because what's the worst that's going to happen? Your hair's going to grow back. Like, it's fine. Just do it. That's easy for me to say. All right, so since you have that Ghostbusters 2 cup, do you also have the Ghost Zapper they sold that summer? Is that the same question that we just talked about, Ghost Zapper?
I assume he's talking about a Hardee's thing, and I don't have a Ghost Zapper from Hardee's. I thought he was talking about a toy from Kenner.
Master Son says, is Melinda cutting Michael's hair? Not yet, but I am lobbying hard to get the chance to cut his hair. And he, so far, has not done it. But let me just say, I have a lot of hair experience. Like, I am currently coloring my own hair. As you can see, I flat ironed it. I did a good job, you know, and I have cut many people's hair. I've permed many people's hair. I have, like, colored and highlighted many people's hair. I'm just saying, turn your hair over to me.
She's right here, Ray. She's looking at me. I think she can hear you, Ray.
Ghostbusters live stream, live haircut.
No, I'm not doing that.
He says no, but I'm telling you, before this is all over, he's going to say yes, and it's going to be great. I'm going to have such a good day that day. Can we perm Michael's hair, they ask. I think that would be fun. It would be very difficult, though, unless it grows out a little more to get the hair, because you have to get those, like, papers, the perm papers, and then wrap those around. Anyway.
I don't want to do this.
All right. Have you seen Tony's new kitten, Prince Harry? I have seen Prince Harry. And first of all, can I just say that is a hilariously adorable name. I think they should have spelled it Hairy. I don't know if that's what they did, but that's funny. Also, he is super adorable, and I just squeeze him. Like, he's so cute. Am I right? He looks like Kirby when he was a baby.
Yeah, he's a cute cat.
Oh man.
I do have caution for Tony's collectibles. So.
Master Son says, all in favor of letting Melinda cut Michael's hair, say aye.
Oh.
Everyone says aye, except someone says, save Michael's hair. Save Michael's hair. Like, save it, like, to send out to you guys, or save it, like, from my cutting of it. I would be very gentle with you, since I know it's your first time.
That's the one that got me.
Let's see. Why is the Tarkin character from the recent retro release dressed in gray? Why? How could they get that so wrong?
They probably... Yeah, good question, because he's kind of supposed to be in like a green-gray, isn't he? They probably just went too simple with it and used the Power of the Force 2 General Veers, or Captain Piet, I believe, as a reference. Captain Piet as a reference. And when they did that, that's where they messed up. I would be a betting person and say that was what happened. Yeah.
Let's see. People are saying no haircut for Michael. Someone else says use a Flowbee to cut Michael's hair. Well, that's retro. A Flowbee? You guys remember that? A movie guy, thank you for the kind super chat that doesn't have a message. Michael, Paul says it's your hair. You have the right to say no, and you do. But I also think that at some point it's gonna just start driving you crazy. I mean, I told him it's me or the John Lennon look, late Beatles, end of the Beatles. Don't Let Me Down era John Lennon look. He doesn't know what that means, but you guys do.
I can just go put a hat on.
I mean, you do have a lot of hats.
I do.
I've cut hair before, is all I'm saying. It's up to you. Is this the longest your hair has ever been? Peter says. Actually, I can say it's not because you grew it out more
for Doctor Who.
For Doctor Who, yeah. So.
Yeah, I grew it out a lot last September for the Doctor Who outfit. So it's about to get back to that point. So someone's requested a Doctor Who live stream. So in the next few weeks, when it gets to that point, we'll drop a Doctor Who live stream and it'll be back to where it was.
We could do a perm in it, and then it would literally look like that.
I do not want a perm. No.
Have you ever smelled perm? I think even you could smell that. The smell of the chemicals.
I don't know.
It is just the worst, you guys. Wow. Yeah, Don't Let Me Down. That can be in your head all day. What was I saw something funny up here. Keith said he's never seen you in a hat. I find that hard to believe. Because literally, it's very hard to keep him from wearing.
You've
a hat
never
all
seen
the
me
time.
in a hat? I've worn hats on the live stream. The Indiana Jones hat, the Dick Tracy hat was worn in the what do you call it? The video we did. I feel like I've worn other hats too, haven't I?
Well, you did the Indiana Jones.
I've done Doctor Who in clips and videos with
Dick
the hat
Tracy.
on. Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, so Map Film Production says, Melinda, you remind me of my mother. She likes cutting our hair. We never had the heart to tell her she was not good at it, though. I mean, you guys don't know if I'd be good at it.
I think that's the X factor that we
but life
are worried
is about
about.
taking risks. I'm not asking to cut your hair with a sword.
Do you know what would happen if my hair got really, really messed up and I had weeks and weeks of having to do videos where I have to be on camera? And people will be like, "Oh yeah, that was back during the lockdown where Melinda was cutting Michael's hair. That's like the Mongo hair era of RetroBlasting."
Look, the offer's on the table. I'm just gonna walk away. You do what you want. Matt Swafford will give you guys $300 super chat if you perm your hair. I think it would take more than that, Matt. Jody says best Ghostbuster game.
I would say the best Ghostbuster game is probably the most recent one that they just remastered. The one that was originally for PC, Xbox. That one really told not told, but captured the flavor of the real Ghostbusters. And Dan Aykroyd went on record a few years ago.
That flavor was ecto-slime flavor.
You threw my thought off.
Sorry.
Dan Aykroyd said that it was essentially Ghostbusters 3 because everybody was involved, which is why I'm glad they're calling this Ghostbusters Afterlife, because I do honestly feel like this game is a suitable part 3. Ghostbusters
It looks awesome. I've never played it, but it looks great.
Afterlife to me is more like part 4. Oh, and funny piece of trivia for you. Did not find this out till after I put my outfit together. The actor who played the Rookie, which is the character you play in the Ghostbusters game, the actor that they use for motion capture and for facial design was one of their programmer game designers in the Atari studio, and his last name is French, literally French. So if I had put a lot of guys like to put their own last name on their Ghostbusters uniform. If I had put my name on this uniform, it still would have been accurate to the series.
Well, we can see from this which one of the original 4 Ghostbuster guys you identify with. I don't think that's come up as a question, but I would say that you're very Venkman of all of the guys.
Yeah, Yeah, I think so.
And I would say I'm the smart one.
I'm Vinkman first, and then a close second is Winston. Because
What's the smart guy? Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis is a smart
What's
guy.
like his character's name?
Egon.
Egon.
Did you really just? Are you messing with?
I was like, it starts with an I, but
wow.
I don't want to say
it's Egon, not Igon. It's Egon. Get out.
How about a Batman 89 live stream? Yeah, Kevin, we are going to be doing a Batman live stream.
Well, he wants a Batman 89 live stream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you would have to talk about several of the Batmans, though, right? I mean,
Yeah,
we would definitely be talking about that one. Jody says, have you seen the new Ghostbusters Monopoly? Thoughts? Not a big fan of Monopoly.
You know what? Monopoly craps out another version every time something new comes out just to try and sell another Monopoly game. There are people who just collect variants of Monopoly. Yeah, I've played enough Monopoly to last a lifetime. It's like Lewis Black said, you know, you've drunk enough Pepsi and Coke in your life, you could pee it for a week. So, you know, same thing with Monopoly. I've played enough Monopoly.
He doesn't like playing board games, you guys. Like, I love it, and I'm alone in a house with a person who, you know, doesn't like to play board games, and so I am deprived of playing board games. So
listen to this. She's so abused.
Dean Hepler says, Michael, we have discussed this before. You need a mullet. So much win. Pure retro. He's not getting a mullet unless either he cuts it or I cut it. That's all I'm saying.
You're saying you wouldn't give me like an early first, second season MacGyver?
I'll give you whatever you want. I mean, I think that's a bad decision, but, you know.
Why? No one's around to see us.
I would see you.
You just...
They say, Michael, chug a Pepsi. How about Uno? I can actually get him to play Uno or Dominoes for a short period of time, but that's about it. I don't consider those board games, though.
I will play a board game with you.
I do not want you to do it.
No, I will.
I can play board games by myself. I am an only child, and I am very adept at just pretending to be different people, and I just move around the board.
That is sad.
It is sad, but that is my life. That is my lot in life.
She does not play board games by herself around here.
I actually have. I played Pandemic by myself upstairs the other day.
What?
I just bought it, and I really wanted to play it. Are you going to go get a Pepsi and chug it?
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
They asked you to, and I think they want you to get up, honestly. I mean, it's 3:30. We only got 30 more minutes.
And we've got a lot of packages to open.
Yeah, well, as soon as you come back, it's going to be package opening time. So you know what this means. It's time for Melinda Q&A. Dun, 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 dun. Master Son says, we need to call COVID busters soon. I am using so much hand sanitizer that when I pee, it cleans the toilet. I call that a win, man. Zantara says, this is a priceless live stream. I'm glad you think so, man. Carl says there's a reason they're called board games. Yeah, well, that's true too, but sometimes, you know, if you have like a nice group of people who's actually engaged in the game, it's about the repartee between all the players. That's the fun part. The game is usually fairly boring. Can we get a cat cameo? Possibly. I can run up and get a cat. Just the first cat I see. Bunyan Snipe says, I would have killed to have seen the official Ghostbusters sequels using the country's folklore. Would have killed for Sammo Hung version. I'm going to have to read that one when Michael comes back because I'm not sure what that means. AJ Vargas says, Melinda, Mystery Mansion is the best board game ever. Ooh, I haven't played that. Is it easy to play with one person? Because, like, Trivial Pursuit is the easiest game ever to play with one person. You can literally go around and just, like... I also like to have little hats that I put on. It's like, oh, now I'm Mrs. Jones, and I'm a bit stuffy, you know, and I play that character, and then I go over and I, like, put on a different hat, and then I pretend to be a different person playing the game. Oh, thanks. Oh, Jesus, lots of questions. Here, I have a question for you, Michael, that I read and I didn't know the answer to.
Okay.
Bunyan Snipe says, I would have killed to have seen official Ghostbusters sequels using other countries' folklore, would have killed for a Sammo Hung version. Like, I assume you mean the ghosts, like, of other countries?
Yeah, yeah, and
means?
have international ghost busting teams from, other
See,
movie.
that would have actually been a really cool, instead of like I'm not dogging on women, I'm just saying, instead of like the take they went with that movie, it would have been cool if they made an international Ghostbusters movie. That would have been cool.
Well, or like do a Ghostbusters movie in Bollywood. You know?
That, I would definitely be down for that.
Right.
Vinkman says Michael's hair is perfection. True, but like, what's it gonna look like in 2 months? Is all what I'm saying. Cheers. A movie guy says, "Are you familiar with Charlie's Custom Toy Shop? He makes custom 3D print accessories like the Proton Pack, Ghost Trap, PKE meter, and the Slime Thrower."
Nice.
That's really cool. Hot tip here, right here. You heard it first, folks. Here on the RetroBlasting live stream. Coming at you.
What are you
I
talking
need
about?
a morning zoo, like, little soundboard over here.
Really?
Whatever that
Boomer
is.
and the nudge. Nudge, 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 nudge. Boomer and the nudge.
Oh my god, I would have so much fun with that. Someone asked me what new metal I'm listening to. I do not listen to new metal. Let's just get that clear right away.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh.
That's for you, Aaron, if you ever see this live stream. Lio Convoys Reviews says, "We're playing Risk when we meet Michael. Are you... and you will hate me for it." I'm looking forward to that. So...
I will play Risk.
He will. If you were a guest in this house, Michael will bend over backwards to do whatever to be accommodating and be kind to you and do whatever things, even if he finds them to be really frustrating. Which he would. Thunder Robot says, "Thoughts on Extreme Ghostbusters toys and show?" I think you talked about that earlier, but yes. I can't remember what you said because I was reading comments to try to like make sure that I...
Came out when I was in college, didn't get to play with the toys, didn't get to watch the show. Glad that there's people who like it. They're kind of expensive and hard to find now, so without the emotional connection, really don't have a reason to go after them.
People are saying new metal sucks. That's true in my opinion, but however, I will say that whoever asked that question was probably saying what new as in NEW, like what new metal. That could have possibly also included new to me metal. Jody sent me some CDs. I'm apologizing right now because I can't remember the names of the bands, but I did listen to those and those were pretty cool. Lately, I've been on a real Tom Waits kick and been like watching tons of documentaries about Tom Waits and listening to some deep cuts from like some of his older albums and stuff like that, which has been real great for me and very painful for Michael. So yeah, I'm sort of, I feel like Tom Waits is weirdly metal adjacent, but not exactly metal. Melinda, love or hate baby metal? Not really a fan. It's kind of gross. Just not my thing. Let's see. Oh, here's another super chat. Most iconic Pepsi logo and year.
The 80s one.
The 80s one is the answer. That is the correct answer.
The mid-80s one. The early
Mid-80s.
to mid. Early to mid.
Early to mid. Fair to Midland. Melinda, being that you went to the University of Alabama at a time when I think you did, were you familiar with a metal band called DC Moon and Red Giant? No. That would assume that I ever went out and did anything ever, which during that time, I was in grad school, and so I was literally just reading anthropology books pretty much all the time. So, super boring. For other people, it was great for me.
All right, so first I have to show off this package that was sent from Clemens. Now, Clemens was irritated after he found out that I got confused and didn't realize that it was a mystery box.
Yeah, he literally thought it was something for me on the front porch.
And I opened it, and I had never seen something so glorious before. I'm not even setting you up for a joke, but I promised him that I had not opened it beyond realizing that it had not been ordered by Melinda or myself. He sent me, I have never seen an actual full case of Chuckles in my entire life. That is a retailer's caseload of Chuckles.
He was so stoked about that.
I cannot wait. I mean, I loved these candies growing up, and probably, was reinforced by Night Court with that. And
True.
Here they are.
That's really awesome.
Look.
I have some stuff I have to read.
You can open it up, and there's Chuckles inside.
Well, I would certainly hope so. Favorite Tom Waits song? Mine is On the Nickel. God, it's hard to pick a favorite Tom Waits song. I feel like it just is whatever comes to my mind, which right now is like The Earth Died Screaming. But I also love the entire album of Alice, which had an anniversary. Like, how many years ago did that come out? Like 20? No, couldn't be. Anyway, yeah, so I love that album.
So this is from Clemens as well. This is to you. He told me not to open it until we were on the live stream.
It has photos in it.
So
are these going to be like things that I've been trying to run away from my whole life? Just kidding.
Okay, here we go.
Melinda, do you still have your college textbooks? Yes, for a short time, although I'm probably going to be getting rid of them soon. Do you want them? Yes! I love it.
Do you even know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Tom Hardy.
Really?
It's a Tom Hardy calendar. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Look at it. Just, look at it, you guys. Look at all of the cute Tom Hardy pictures. And you know what I'm going to do?
I don't want to know what you're going to do.
I'm going to get a Sharpie, and I'm just going to color his long hair on every one of them and pretend like he's Heathcliff in all of these. Just delightful. Thank you. It's very weirdly appropriate.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just going to set this over here.
Matt Movie says, speaking of Michael's MacGyver haircut, I started watching the series because of your video on it and loving it.
Oh, good. Yeah, MacGyver's a fun show.
Yes, part 2 is coming.
Part 2 is coming. I'm working on it. It's a bigger video because it encompasses more than the second season. This looks like a...
Tom Hardy is because, by the way, of a previous live stream where we were talking about Wuthering Heights and enjoying his portrayal of Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights. So if you didn't see that, that is the reason why I am getting that.
And he has that weird accent.
I love it. It's perfect.
Like this all the time. And you think it's Bane, but it's really not, because he's just weird.
Someone's what?
Hoist That Rag. That is a great Tom Waits song.
Wow. Thank you, Jody. He sent a magnetizer demagnetizer, so I need to keep this away from any VHS tapes.
Unless you want to destroy
and hard
them.
drives, but it apparently helps temporarily magnetize screws so that they can stick to your screwdrivers while you're working on toys and stuff. That's cool. Thank you so much.
Master Son says, I had to do something for her. Well, I'm going to hang it in my office, so I'm excited about it. I know, yes, Tom Hardy is in Wuthering Heights. So I don't care about him as Bane. I honestly didn't want to watch that version of Wuthering Heights because I saw him as Bane and then I was like, ugh, I don't want to see that. But he nailed it. Perfect. He's the best on screen. And I'm sorry for this because I know you love Timothy.
After we win, I will give you permission to die.
I know you love Timothy Dalton, who also plays Heathcliff. But I'm just saying, Tom Hardy nailed Heathcliff in Wuthering Heights.
We've never seen the Timothy Dalton
I know, but I think you would just like it out of the gate because it's Timothy Dalton. Don't lie. You know you would. Yeah. You're laughing because you know it's true.
Okay.
Michael, like Queen Victoria, is not amused. So, let's see. Tom Hardy sounds like Gandalf doing Bane. I mean,
I have not
I
watched.
am not a fan of him as Bane. I think those movies are awful, but him as Heathcliff, like, makes you appreciate how that whole thing is just not his fault.
Hey, check it out.
Cool.
It's John Pertwee, the Third Doctor, in his TARDIS.
So, guys, what is the thing you started collecting more of during quarantine?
Me?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Sorry. This is what happens when you drink a Pepsi and you haven't had a lot to eat today and the gases build up and it just... Look, I said I was sorry.
I could have done better.
Anyway, I've been collecting... what have I been... Blu-rays, really.
I mean,
I've been buying
I've
Blu-rays.
been collecting streaming services myself.
And I just bought those Playmobil Ghostbusters sets that I hope to show up. And this, I believe, which is from Plastic Galaxy.
I have a question. Is there, when you have to enter all of the metrics to monetize a video on YouTube now, because it asks you about profanity and all that kind of stuff, does it ask you about bodily functions?
I'm not answering that. Okay, so Seth surprised me. Look at this. He sent me a
Retro belching.
He sent me a Bespin Luke from the Saga line, which is cool.
Look at his face, though.
Yeah, he's all beat up.
Look at the expression on his face. He's like this.
Oh, wow. He sent surprises. There are surprises inside.
Surprises inside. So there's a Hello Kitty in there?
Maybe. Okay, he sent...
Michael is turning into Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. That's what they say.
Oh, because I belched?
Yeah. Let's see. Michael, will you ever do a video on the Awesome Eagles 80s UK TV show? Isn't that weird Muppety thing?
You're thinking of Thunderbirds.
Oh. What's Awesome Eagles? What's that?
At some point, I'm happy to do a video about any show that I can actually get my hands on and watch.
Vinkman says, I loved the recent video version of the Dreamland podcast. It's great being able to see Aaron being Aaron. I agree. And guess what, guys? That's going to go live on YouTube tomorrow. So if you are not a patron and you want to see the video version of our latest Dreamland, that's going to go up tomorrow on the YouTube channel.
Yep. Look at this. A sealed read-along record for Return of the Jedi with booklet.
That's very cool.
That's really awesome.
And
This is the one I had.
Sealed. Like, that's nice.
This is the one I had as a kid, and it didn't survive. And then... Oh, look. Look.
Wolfie says, wow, Wolfie, you really didn't have to do another super chat. He says, Michael, on the reproduction figures, I will try to pick up the vintage main guys from one of my local vintage toy stores in the DC after quarantine.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Please,
look at it.
Please eat a Chuckles, they ask. Aaron Harper is in the house, so if you want to say hello to Aaron, he's here.
It's the 40th anniversary packaged Yoda. And can you guess which one the other one is? It's Bespin Luke, the RetroBlasting favorite. Huh? Hey, look. Look.
That's pretty good. He needs to be an open mouth, though, to match the picture. I always feel like they should match their pictures, don't you?
Luke. Luke at Luke.
No. Did you know that...
Luke at Luke. Look at it.
I'd like to point something out. The 40th anniversary is the Ruby anniversary. So, you know. It just seems like they should have incorporated that in some way. Jeez, you just killed Stay Puft.
Well, that
thank
should
you.
please you.
It pleases me a lot. That's very cool. It's very thoughtful gifts. Melinda, I'm watching this from the UK. I'm high-functioning autistic, and the doctor said I would never make it past 30. Well, that's
awesome, though, that you're doing well.
I'm glad you're having a great time. They're in the UK. I wish I were in the UK.
I wish I was in the UK too.
Let's see.
This is from...
What's your favorite No, you already answered that. Relatively new subscriber here. Love these live streams. Can we get a Ninja Turtles live stream or a RoboCop live stream? That's an interesting idea.
We can do both of those.
Great ideas.
Probably, yeah, great idea. Probably be quicker for us to do the Ninja Turtles one first, but we're just as equipped to do RoboCop. Thank you for your cooperation.
Beta Ray Bob says that Yavin Luke is better than Bespin Luke, and you're never going to get Michael to say that.
Nope.
Let's see. Can you do a Robotech stream?
Well,
I think we mentioned last time that we definitely need to do that, and
but
I can complain about Minmay the whole time.
But I'm doing a Robotech final feature first. I really don't want to mix those two up. So, holy cow. It's a box of vintage goodness. These are photos from Doctor Who. This is an original photo of William Hartnell as the Doctor. A black and white promo from Doctor Who of William Hartnell.
Travels with Jason F says, if you look on the side of the box, you see Doctor Who. I don't know if that means...
Oh, yeah, he drew Daleks.
Yeah, he did draw it. And little
and
UFO.
the TARDIS. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so let's see here. We have the lower half of a Cobra Claw. And we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer trading cards.
I'll take
multiple
those.
seasons.
You know what I was hoping these were is some sort of card game. Maybe I could turn it into a game, like a Spitfire.
Spitfire. Put that on.
Look, I recognize that now.
Spitfire. Ah, we have a knockoff. I always call them flip bots, but it's one of the knockoff Transformers. What wasn't originally a Transformer. Whatever those flip bots were called, Twin Twist and.
Yell it out, guys. We know you know the answer. Yeah, I miss Buffy too. I've really come really close to like rewatching Buffy, but it's like, do I want to rewatch all 7 seasons, or do I just pick a season and start there? And if so, which one?
Holy cow!
There is a Buffy trading card game. Like, is that? But I can't play that by myself. You have to like trade with friends. I have to have friends in order to do that.
2 vintage Star Wars figures. Stand up.
So, Clobbering Time says, Melinda, how about a Thundar podcast or live stream? I'd love to pitch in. Good point. Yeah. We'll have to figure out how we want to do that.
Supernaturals.
What is that?
Supernaturals. And this is... Oh, gosh. What is... I know this character. USMF Science Division. Oh, this is driving me nuts. It must be Final Fantasy the movie, maybe? I think it's Final Fantasy the movie.
Twin Twist and Topspin?
Yes.
Jump Starters. Gilster wants you to do the Wahlberg voice about the calendar.
Really?
I think that would work. I think it'd be good.
I mean, he's not as ripped as me, bro. I mean, he's sick. He's sick, bro, but he's not as ripped as me. I mean, dude, what are you doing? You got this calendar here. It's got this guy on it. I mean, I was him before he was him. I was the first him. I'm haughtier.
Yeah, but he's British.
Yes, yes, yes.
He's British, and he's also not from Boston.
This is interesting. It's a gun part that goes to this.
Don't get offended if you're from Boston. I love Boston area. It's very great. can you power off on that proton pack so we can hear the sound?
Well, the sound was off anyway.
Yeah, let's turn that on. Show the people how it works. Cute. Oh. There you go, guys. All the sounds. Cute Fluff says, Melinda, thank you for being a lady who wasn't the typical woman who discouraged a man from doing what he loves. I'm the rare lady who collects vintage toys and found a man who supports my hobby, too. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, regardless of gender, I don't understand people who, like, meet someone who's really into a thing, you know, it can be whatever, and then their first mission after they land that person, right, is to, like, make them stop doing that thing and instead devote all their time and effort to, like, mundane crap. So it's like, I don't want you to, like, collect toys anymore. I want you to mow the grass and take out the trash only and work all the time. Or I don't want you to play guitar anymore because I need you to go, like, do the grocery shopping or whatever things. Like, I understand that, like, as a partnership, like, in a partnership, you have to each do your part, and I think that's totally fair. But asking, like, thinking that all this is, like, a waste of money, it's like, if it brings him happiness, like, why do you not want him to be happy? You know, I don't understand that. So, like, if you meet someone and they're already into those things, then just encourage them to do things, like, because think of all the other crap they could be doing, too. Like, you know, they could be going out and, like, gambling all your money away, or, like, you know, cheating on you, or God only knows. I'm not saying those are the only two options. I'm just saying, like, of all the things to complain about, it seems like a weird choice to get mad about it, right? Like, so as long as it's something that brings you happiness, if I care about you, I want you to be happy. So.
Well, speaking of bringing us happiness, Jody has landed another package on our doorstep.
Well, that's not surprising. But thank you, Jody. Let's see. Does the Proton Pack play the Ray Parker Jr. and Bobby Brown movie songs? I've seen some that do.
Yes, it did at one time, but and that song is still on the board, but I disconnected that button a few years ago because I kept nudging it, and then the song would start, and so I stopped that feature.
Well, also, if we played it on the live stream, we would get, you know, copyright strikes. So, Trent says, Melinda, I need you to speak to my girlfriend for me. Yeah, man, I've honestly thought about doing some kind of, like, video or short thing about that, because it's a pet peeve of mine. Like, people will say all the time, like, they'll send us toys and stuff, and they'll say, my wife is making me get rid of this. And I know that it can't just all be women, but like, ladies, come on. Like, what are you doing?
Wow, it's the Visionaries complete series.
Wow, that's cool.
I wonder what condition the discs are in. Ooh, a little rough, but maybe I can rip them.
Can you do an impression of Gomer Pyle?
Well, I am from Tennessee.
Let's see. I don't know. I think people have been asking more about the horror movie thing, so I guess we could try to do that at some point. I don't know if you want to do that next week, though. What are we going to do next week?
Next week I thought we were possibly doing either. What were we doing?
I don't know if we picked.
Ninja Turtles or World War II films or something.
Oh yeah, Michael still wants to do the world. Yell it out, guys. What do you want to see next week? You got, let's see, World War II, Someone's saying Karate Kid. There's the horror movie things.
Uh-oh. Keith Holmesley has sent a care package.
Wow. There was a lot of stuff in the P.O. box.
Yeah.
Lots of people yelling out World War II, please.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm off.
And live stream haircut.
No.
What says World War II more than home haircuts? Like, I think World War II is winning.
Good, because I think that'd be a fun one.
I mean, okay, right. Doctor Who is probably a second.
Oh, that's funny. It's the 40th anniversary Bespin Luke again, so that means that my record is unbroken. I now have in my collection,
unbroken.
except for the vintage Luke, which I have multiple loose versions of and card backs, I have a carded and a loose example of most of the major releases of Bespin Luke. So that means that as of today, I can now choose which one to open and which one to keep carded. Gosh, Kismet is a strange thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Keith, you get to tell me since
Keith Holmesley says open it, open it, open it.
Okay, so I'm gonna open this one and I'm gonna keep that one carded.
Are you gonna open it right now? Because it's 4:00. So.
Well, I'm not. I'll open it. I'm gonna do a video comparing it to the original release. So
he wants you to open his.
Okay, well I'll open yours.
Carl says, if you're doing World War II, have you or Michael seen the movie Cockleshell Heroes? I have not. Have you seen a movie called Cockleshell Heroes?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it, though.
Melinda for 80s horror, check out In Search of Darkness. Okay.
All right, we're down to the last box. And
wow, we still have more boxes. That's
we have
crazy.
one more box. And this box is from Bill. And this box is huge, but yet it's very light.
I mean, there's a lot of people's heads like that, too.
Wow.
What? I didn't say anyone here. I wasn't clearly not talking about you guys.
I know you weren't talking about anyone here.
I mean, do you like Hot Wheels? Yes.
Oh my gosh. Brand new just in case. Enjoy and thanks for the years of entertainment. Brand new batteries just in case you need them.
Batteries are included. Melinda, do you have Shudder? If so, any recommendations? I don't know what that means, so no. Is that a service of some kind? Is there an explanation for your love of Bespin Luke figures, Michael?
Yeah, I think what it boils down to for me is that Empire Strikes Back was the film that I saw last. I had the read-along cassette, so I knew the story going into Return of the Jedi when it came out in '83. But I had only had the opportunity to see Star Wars, and I'm glad I saw that one first. I'm glad I didn't see Return of the Jedi first. And I saw it in a very nice format, big screen television, things like that, at a friend's house. But then when I finally saw Empire Strikes Back, because I was all about Jedi Luke. I was all about, the black outfit and the green lightsaber there for a while. And then I saw Empire, and there was something about not only the movie itself and how perfect Empire Strikes Back is as an experience, as a story, but also Luke had everything going on in that outfit. He wasn't in he wasn't in desert clothes, which if you look at Luke's Jedi outfit, it starts to mimic some of that a little bit. Not so much in the footwear, but in the tunic top and everything. But in his Empire outfit, it was, you know, I love pockets. I love jackets. He had both. He had his gun and his lightsaber, which that never happened before or since. He had a really cool rig, the belt, and his boots were just awesome. And there was just something about
a lot of thought has gone
there is.
into
There was something
this.
about the whole outfit that I just thought was sharp. Even as a kid, I was like, that's really cool. I love that outfit. And so,
That's how I always felt about Cloud City Leia.
yeah,
Like
Best-
Bespin Escape Leia.
right.
Like not necessarily. I like the red dress thing, but I love her hair in Cloud City, and I love that white jumpsuit without the little like vesty thing over it. I like the whole look way more.
Right.
Like, and that's why years ago, like in 2010 when we did our major costuming at DragonCon, that was the Leia that I wanted to do because she
Right.
had the best hair. It was always my favorite. So yeah, I think the characters were at their apex there.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. And the fact that, you know, there he is in the coolest duel in the whole trilogy, and he's in these really cool locations, and his uniform before the fight starts is it's kind of dirty and smudged from being on, you know, on Dagobah. He's got that icy blue lightsaber. He's got that really cool gun belt on, and those boots that are more like moccasin style than they are jackboot style. Like they just look unique. There was just something about his whole look in that film that was just perfect. And yeah, Bespin Luke is my favorite. Always will be.
Vinkman says people who want their significant others to get rid of their toy collections just want to enforce conformity. I would agree with that. And I think part of it is also controlling what their partner does, either with their spare time or their money or both, which to some degree is understandable, and particularly if you have kids. But again, if you completely take away everything that makes someone happy,
Oh my gosh.
geez Louise.
I know.
Wilson says the costume is utilitarian and stylish.
It is. Come on. Sorry for the noise.
Oh my god, it's so loud in here. Hey, remember that time we were at that Slayer show, how loud it was?
Remember that time I was actually doing a live stream and not unpacking this thing?
No. It feels like this has been happening for a really long time, but guess what? You really need to pack things well, and this person has really done that, so... let's see. Speaking of saga vehicles, I recently picked up a copy of the 2010 Twin Pod Cloud Car. I need to get 2 pilot figures, though. Here's hoping Michael will do an episode on those toys.
I don't own the 2010 Cloud Car. I would have to get one before I could do that comparison.
Well, now you've said it, so you very well
Well,
might.
but I've got other things to buy right now.
I'm saying someone might send it to you.
Oh, well.
I'm not saying do that, but...
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get through this bubble wrap.
Fat Bob says, Rain and Blood. Yeah, I don't know why you said that, but yeah. Oh, it's because someone asked what my favorite Slayer album is. Yeah,
Look.
that's right. Nice. It's only like, a week late?
What are you talking about? Well,
I mean, can you imagine if that had shown up on the day?
I think
That
it was
we-
probably prompted by the live stream. Because
Oh, okay.
we talked about...
Either that or it was sitting in the P.O. box on the day.
Right.
What are the Ghostbusters figures in front of Melinda? These down here.
Those are the Mattel figures from three years ago, I think. 2016, so 4 years ago.
So what is the deal with this Playmobil thing? Like, what all does it do? Are you familiar with it already?
It's a brand new time machine set that comes with Marty and Doc and the dog. It's all based around the... what do you call it? The parking lot scene, which is, of course, my favorite scene in the
Right.
whole trilogy. and light sounds, light up flux capacitor. It actually has the DMC logo on the car, which is a rare thing nowadays because you have to license that. And I think it's a Walmart exclusive. And Bill said he found 2 of them and he wanted to pick one up for me. And I said, yeah, grab it, and he said, I'll pay for shipping, just, pay for the thing. And I said, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was really kind of him. Thank you, Bill. Really appreciate this.
That's awesome.
And what's
Bill.
cool is I'll be able to park this. I'll make sure that I get footage of this car with the Ecto next to the Playmobil firehouse in that video. That'll be fun. Because it seems like Back to the Future and Ghostbusters fandom tends to go hand in hand, which I've always found interesting.
Colt says my favorite Slayer album is Seasons in the Abyss. Yeah, Seasons and that whole Rain and Blood thing are both up there. They're definitely. Although I did like the one from a few years ago that now the title just went right out of my head. So that's not interesting. Kieran says, wait for it. Michael's going to burp the alphabet.
I'm not that skilled with those belches. That one just hit me and I couldn't avoid it. And I thought, well, let's make a laugh out of it.
Michael's favorite scene in all of Back to the Future is the Twin Pines Mall.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is. I love the whole reveal.
It's pretty great.
I love the whole reveal of the car. I love his introduction to Doc, even though he already knows him. And I love all the dialogue between them, all their looks, all their reactions, the Libyans showing up, the chase, and then his unexpected blast into the past. All that stuff, the music, everything, the effects, the explanation of time travel with Einstein and the experiment. I just love all of it. It's such a great scene. It's movie perfection.
Well, it's good that you don't feel strongly about it.
Here.
Would you trade your DeLorean for a movie-accurate, fully restored Ecto 1?
No, I would not. An Ecto 1 is a 1959 Miller Meteor Cadillac ambulance, and they get like 5 miles to the gallon, and it's almost impossible to find parts for them. They're very rare vehicles, and they're very, very inefficient. I mean, they make the DeLorean's gas mileage almost like an electric car by comparison. It's not a vehicle I would want to own.
Nerd Nook says there's a Back to the Future reunion Monday. Is that true?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they are super rare. I looked into those for our famous vehicles Dragon Con presentation. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Well, I think that's about all we've got to give today. Mm-hmm. We've done it all.
We've done it all. We've done a lot.
Stand-up comedy, hair discussions,
proton packs,
but unboxing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're welcome, guys. Belching. I mean, good job. Good job.
So, I mean, it's sick, bro. It's sick. I'm gonna sit
here. Wait a second. They're asking for a cat cameo. That's literally the only thing that we haven't done. So
I'm gonna sit here and eat my chuckles. Just gonna open up this box and eat my chuckles.
I'm gonna go find a cat.
I'm talking about stuff. Gonna open up this Back to the Future vehicle. Probably gonna start filming this video about. See, I was about to belch again. The Bespin Luke comparison, because I have the original Black Series release. But yeah, I'm going to have to figure out where to put this TARDIS that showed up because my shelf is full. What TARDIS will be sacrificed, or will I have to rearrange them? Uh-oh, I hear a cat coming down. I hear a cat.
It really is the first cat I saw.
Well, I can't see on your computer what's going on. You've got it all wacky. Hold on.
Are you sleepy? He's sleepy. Look at the people.
Oh, yeah, he's on screen.
Hello.
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to go turn the stream off then, guys. thank you so much for being on this live stream. I hope this has been fun for all of you. It's certainly been fun for us. We will be back on next Saturday with what? World War II films? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay,
World
we're
War
doing.
II, not
Oh,
films.
oh, we're doing
You
World
didn't-
War II. I thought we were doing. I thought that what they wanted to talk about was my favorite World War II movies.
Well, whatever you
Okay,
want to
so
do.
we're
That's,
doing-
that's just not what you said. So.
Okay, well, World War II movies and World War II discussion. We'll have a lot of cool stuff on the table and stuff to talk about. And then after that, we'll have Ninja Turtles and Doctor Who and RoboCop, and all those will be coming up as well. But the Q&A is always open during these discussions. Doesn't matter. You guys can ask whatever you want. But you guys stay safe out there. Melinda's new Dreamland's going to drop tomorrow. We just dropped the latest Star Wars Follies yesterday, so if you haven't seen that, our team up with Analog Toys, check that out. All right, I'm going to go turn the stream off.
Say hello, Jasper. Yes, he does look angry, but he's not. He's just sleepy. I woke him up. So we'll see you later, guys. Say bye. Bye-bye.
I need the mouse. I can't end this without the mouse.
Oh, see, there are problems. Wait, careful. What's he doing? Bye, everyone. Are you talking on the microphone?